In a secluded valley, nestled between towering mountains, there lay a monastery known as the Whispering Pines. Here, a monk named Tenzin devoted his life to solitude, meditation, and the pursuit of wisdom. The monastery was simple, built from ancient stone, with a roof that slanted gracefully against the backdrop of the sky. Tenzin had taken a vow of silence, believing that words often clouded the mind. Instead, he communicated with the world through his actions and the stillness of his presence. Each morning, as the first light crested the peaks, he would rise and walk through the dewy grass, collecting herbs and roots for the small garden he tended. He found beauty in the smallest things, the way a leaf unfurled, the gentle rustle of wind through the pines, the soft call of a bird at dawn. One day, while gathering herbs, Tenzin noticed a flicker of movement in the distance. Curious, he approached the edge of the forest, where he found a young girl, no older than 10, tangled in a thicket of brambles. Her face was streaked with dirt, and her eyes were wide with fear. Without a word, Tenzin knelt beside her. He gently untangled the thorns from her hair and clothes, all the while sensing her apprehension. Once freed, she stared at him, bewildered yet fascinated by his calm demeanour. "Who are you?" she finally asked, her voice a whisper. Tenzin smiled softly, the kind of smile that spoke volumes without the need for words. He gestured to the monastery, inviting her to come with him. Reluctantly she followed, her small feet hesitant but drawn to the warmth of his presence. Over the next few days, the girl, who introduced herself as Lila, stayed at the monastery. Tenzin taught her the ways of the valley, the names of the plants, the songs of the birds, and the art of stillness. They would sit together at the edge of the garden, watching the clouds drift by, practicing silent meditation. Slowly, Lila learned to appreciate the tranquility that surrounded her. As they spent time together, Lila began to open up. She told Tenzin about her life in the nearby village, filled with noise and chaos. She spoke of her dreams of becoming a healer, of helping those in need. Tenzin listened intently, his heart swelling with pride for her aspirations. One afternoon, while tending to the garden, Lila picked a handful of herbs. "Can we make something for the village?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Tenzin nodded, understanding her desire to give back. They worked side by side, brewing a simple potion of herbs known for their healing properties. When it was ready, Lila's face lit up with joy. That evening, Tenzin and Lila set off toward the village. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the land. As they walked, Lila recounted stories of the villagers, her voice animated and full of life. When they arrived, the villagers gathered around, curious about the duo. Lila stood tall, a sense of purpose radiating from her. She explained how the herbs could help with common ailments. Tenzin remained in the background, observing the transformation taking place in Lila. As the villagers tasted the potion, they marveled at its effectiveness. Gratitude filled the air, and Lila's laughter rang out, mingling with the evening breeze. For the first time, she felt a sense of belonging, not just as a girl from the village, but as a healer, someone who could make a difference. Afterward, as they walked back to the monastery under a blanket of stars, Lila turned to Tenzin. "I want to come back," she said earnestly. "There's so much to learn." Tenzin smiled, realizing that their paths had intertwined in a beautiful way. He understood that words might not always be necessary, but the bond they had forged through silence, compassion, and shared purpose would last a lifetime. Years later, as Lila stood in her own healing hut, surrounded by the villagers she had come to love. She often thought of the monk who had changed her life. Though he remained in the monastery, the lessons he taught her resonated in every act of kindness she offered. In the stillness of her heart, she carried Tenzin's spirit with her, a gentle reminder that wisdom often lies not in what we say, but in what we do.